Hello, welcome back to my channel. And yes, I'm back again. I was actually headed outside to do some gardening. And then I, of course, received this transmission that just wants to come through. And it's on a topic that is near and dear to everyone's heart these days, and that would be ascension symptoms. If you know me, you know that that is not any part of my favorite phrases to use. I use ascension upgrades or DNA upgrades. DNA upgrades is probably my favorite because that's exactly what's happening in the body. And I really would love to have this conversation with you to try and persuade you to let go of ascension symptoms and swap it out for DNA upgrades or ascension upgrades, because we are actually anchoring in a lower vibration when we use the word symptoms. It is a lower 3D word because the word symptoms is associated with a medical disability. Right? There's a symptom to something that's taking place in a very physical way within our body. And so if you think about it, anytime you've had any kind of medical anomaly, what do? You go and you look up the symptom. How do I know I have this? How could I be sure? Let me look at what the symptoms are, right? And so that is rooted in the third dimensional paradigm of the medical system. Now, that's not the only reason I would like you to try to let go of ascension symptoms. The main reason I would like you to let it go is this, is that in anchoring in ascension symptoms, that word symptoms is actually going to trigger the mind to relate to a medical experience, meaning if you have, let's say, a pain in your body or a headache, and then you find out, let's say with a headache, we'll use that as an example, that there were significant coronal mass ejections, or perhaps there were heavy solar winds or something like that, which cause headaches, right? That solar activity creates headaches for our expansion. Then you might think to yourself, oh, it's a symptom of ascension. Now, that triggers our mind to believe that there's something wrong with us. And it goes into a state of victimhood mentality because symptom is associated with suffering, with pain, with victimhood, right? And pain and suffering are a byproduct of resistance. So when we are resistant to something taking place, we're creating pain and suffering. So let's talk about what's actually happening in the body so that maybe you can see this as more of a DNA upgrade or even an ascension upgrade, as opposed to calling it ascension symptoms. So what's taking place in the body is all of these light frequencies that we can't see with our physical eyes, but we certainly are feeling in many different ways, right? We've just talked about gamma frequency, which is making some people's arms and hands and fingers numb when they're waking up in the morning, which is not something that's normal for them. And it feels a little disconcerting and maybe a little bit scary, right? And we tune into it at that low vibration, then we can create more of that and keep it happening, because in those moments, gamma is coming through during the evening, during the day too. It's all day long. It doesn't stop. The energies are consistent. But at night, when you're sleeping, it's a lot quieter and it's a lot stronger, and it's coming through the body. And then it's waking you up in the middle of the night. And you perceive that you're waking up because your arm might be numb, or because you feel like you fell asleep on your arm and now your arm is numb. But that's actually not what's happening. Gamma is a very high frequency light that's coming through. It's electrical in nature. And so when it comes through, it's stimulating the nervous system and the immune system, because that's what it does. It stimulates the nervous system and the immune system. So in the nervous system stimulation, it's stimulating the nerves that are in your arm. Now, that's only one place that it's stimulating your nervous system. It also stimulates our nervous system when we are unable to sleep, when we're feeling supercharged, like the ever ready rabbit, right? And that's because in that moment, we're feeling our multidimensional self kicking in. Now, if we don't have an awareness and get excited and say, oh my God, I know I can't sleep and I should be really upset because I really need to sleep, but my multidimensional self is kicking in. This is really super exciting to me because this is what it feels like. And I get to feel it and I get to know it and I get to sense it all at the same time, right? Now, some people might not like that. Some people might go into, oh, this really stinks. My multidimensional self is kicking in and I can't sleep. Now, let me just say, sleep is associated with the third dimension. It is also a program that we run because technically in the higher dimensional states of being, we will not need sleep like we will not need food, okay? So please keep in mind that those are programs that we have been programmed to buy into, just like time being linear when time is really a nonlinear construct, right? And so dates and all of that, right? So there's a lot of things that are playing out in our belief system that we have to constantly interject and push it aside and say, no, that's not my truth. I'm coming online as a multidimensional aspect of myself, and this is how this is working. So I'm noticing my screen is a little bit blurry and also that my screen keeps shaking. I apologize for that, but the frequencies are so high right now that I can't control that because I'm affecting the computer. So I apologize if this doesn't come out crystal clear. I'm seeing it a little blurry on my end. So anyway, going back to the body and the frequencies, right? This is my multidimensional self showing up for you. So we have to remember that every time we go through a frequency shift on the earth plane, it's going to affect us in some way, shape, or form. And now we've talked about also that we're all on different timelines. Yes, we are a collective ascending at this particular point in time. We're ascending collectively, but we're all on our own individual and unique timelines, which is a very important part of this process to have an awareness to, okay? Because no two people are going to have identical experiences. Yes, you may know 10 other people that have numb arms waking up in the morning, but some of those people are going to have it to a real extreme feeling of numbness, and other people are just going to have a light tingling or numbness as the chakra points, the nadi points, and the meridian points start to become activated in those areas. And that's what the tingling is. If you've ever felt it behind your head where your whole head feels tingly, and then maybe it even feels like your head is kind of opened up from behind. And in that opening up of your head feeling tingly and open and like air is rushing through, that's actually the chakra opening up. That's what that feeling is, right? So we have to keep an awareness that everything that is presenting for the upgrade of our carbon-based body to carbon silica, to silica crystalline, to crystalline light body, and then way beyond crystalline light body, right? But right now, crystalline light body is what we are transcending. We're in the process of evolving into that, right? Which is why I've posted about the crystals and how they erupt out of the skin. And so we have to have this awareness because this crystalline light is in everything. The earth is holding it. The air we're breathing is holding it. The sun is holding it. It's in everything. Everything is experiencing it with us. Okay, so as we're going through this process, everything we're engaging with is also feeding us and interacting with us because everything is energy. So if we're feeling a particular situation taking place in our body, and let's say it is a headache, we have to say, okay, I got this. I'm going to let my body have a timeout. I'm going to let my body rest, and then we go into our bed because that is where our energy is held most consistently. And we lay down where our energy is held consistently because that is what supports us and activates us. And then we ask that our higher self come online to help us. We ask that the symptoms lessen, and then we can ask to have our future self step in and give us some guidance on to how to best lessen this experience that we're having, not symptom, experience that we're having, so that we can shift it in a more timely fashion, right? Now, in the past, for those of you that are new, I have offered the idea of back spinning your electromagnetic field, because everything spins in a clockwise direction, right? But I want you to think about this. If you put your arm into the air and you start spinning your arm in the air in a clockwise fashion, and I welcome you to do it now and join me, right? Spinning your arm in a clockwise fashion in the air, you're actually drawing energy down to you, which is how the chakras have always worked, which is why when we meet somebody, we can sense them, they can sense us, because it's information exchanged back and forth. And the chakras are our biggest energy centers. It's our largest portal of energy sourcing. So it's how we know if we like somebody right away or if we don't, right? But if you were to put your arm up again, so please join me in doing that, and then this time spin in a counterclockwise direction, you might actually feel the energy moving away from you. In other words, it's going out into space. Now, if you're not energy sensitive for both of those exercises, you might want to close your eyes. I happen to be very, very energy sensitive. As a matter of fact, I'm so energy sensitive. I actually read frequencies and sound waves and energy in general, which is how I can perceive what's taking place or read what's taking place. So if you do those exercises and you don't feel anything, do them again with your eyes closed, because when our eyes are closed, we're not in our head, and it makes it easier for us to be able to feel and experience, right? Eyes closed gives us more feeling, drops us into the heart center, so we can have a better experience with what it is that we're desiring to know. Now, going back to the field spin, right? If you spin your electromagnetic field, forget about your chakras for now, but just your electromagnetic field, and have it go counterclockwise around you, you will assist and support in amplifying and expanding your energy, which is what these upgrades are trying to do. These upgrades are trying to expand our energy. So if you assist and support that, this is already tried and true. My Ascension Mastery class has already been experiencing this. They work with this. And I am certain that this will work for you too, because it's tried and true. And if you spin your field and close your eyes and lay down and imagine your field spinning counterclockwise, then you will start to notice that the experience that you're having is lessening, okay? Because in that moment, we really don't want to take anything for it, because when we're medicating an experience that we're having, it's saying that we're not trusting our body to do the right thing, right? No matter what we're using, we could be using in over-the-counter aspirin or something like that, right? Acetaminophen, or however you say it. I haven't taken any of that in probably almost 20 years. I haven't taken anything. I haven't taken any kind of, supplements for headaches or anything like that. Okay. I do use herbal medicine on occasion, but not anything for that. So the best way to do this is to allow your body to have its experience, because believe it or not, your body knows exactly what it needs to do. Your body is an amazing facility that can handle whatever's presented, okay? In 2000, for those of you that don't know, I had cancer for the first time. And what I understood and recognized is that my body was willing to support me if I could get out of my head, if I could stop focusing on the fear of having cancer, right? And so what my team at the time told me was, let it go. Stop looking at it. Stop focusing on it. And so what? You have cancer. You're not going to die from it. Just let your body do what it needs to do, but you have to support your body. And I said, well, how do I do that if I'm not going to support it with drugs and all this other stuff? And the answer was, you're gonna eat very, very clean, eat very healthy, get rid of the sugars, because the sugar is exacerbating some things going on in your body right now. And yes, there are times we will need sugar, especially when we're in crystalline light body. You might notice you're craving chocolate or you're craving sweets because crystalline light body activating needs sugar, right? Other light bodies need salt. When you're in plasma light body or you're activating loads of plasma in your field, you need salt, okay? But for light body, we need we have to have sugar. But this was before that, so I was needing to clean up my field. And one of the most important and significant things we need to do is stop the association or the attachment to what is transpiring in our body on the level of some medical anomaly or some medical problem that we are having a symptom of, because that's all in the lower 3D distortion that's playing out, okay? And so it's really important that when you're feeling something, stay out of your head, drop into your heart, close your eyes, come into your heart and say, what is this taking place? What's going on for me? So I have my class do these exercises all the time. And a lot of times they'll come back and report to me that they were feeling these heart influxes coming in from the solar system, and they were having palpitations, and then they closed their eyes and they tuned in to see that the palpitations were actually not their original heart, their heart that they were born with, but a heart in the center of their chest that is newly forming, that is coming online, just like the glands in our neck. And I've talked about that in other videos, and I've written about that also in my blog posts, so please check those out. So we can assess that this is something taking place in the center of our chest, and it's not a medical emergency. Your body will always tell you when there is a medical emergency if you are tuning in. But if you're playing in fear, and you're afraid that something is wrong, then you're going to create something wrong, because again, it's law of attraction, right? So when we are in fear that this is a heart attack happening, we can actually, with our fear, create a heart problem. And then that's what plays out in our reality, because again, think about it from the perspective that this is a hologram. We're playing in a hologram, and our thoughts, our words, and our actions are creating the scene that we're actually playing in this hologram. And I could tell you that realities change very, very quickly. I just did a video on that too. Please tune into that. Realities are based on our belief system and what we're believing in that moment, what we're perceiving to be our truth in that moment. So if we're perceiving that something is physically wrong with us that we're not going to be able to fix or heal, then that's going to be the outcome result of our belief system, because our beliefs are very, very strong, right? And this is about putting our beliefs to the side, tuning in, finding trust, and anchoring into our heart center, closing our eyes, dropping into the heart center, and then just tuning in to what is. Not tuning in here to the mind, because the mind will be off and running. Remember, thoughts are electrical in nature. So when you have a thought, that thought sparks and it's off and running. It's like a sprinter. It doesn't stop. It just keeps going. Okay. And that's the problem with thoughts, is when we get the thought in the head, it's off and running. And it's very hard to slow it down. How does it get slowed down? It gets slowed down through the magnetics of the heart, through our heart center, through our emotions, because our emotions want to catch up to the thoughts and be in alignment with the thoughts. And the emotional body can't do that because emotions are like a big sumo wrestler, right? And the sumo wrestler cannot run as fast as a sprinter. Are you guys getting the picture here? This is why people have anxiety, because their thoughts are out in the forefront. Their emotional body can't catch up. And there's a shaking, a mismatch, because the emotional body is trying, but it's too dense, it's too magnetized. It's, the earth is magnetic, everything is magnetic. So it can't get out ahead of that sprinter. And then our thoughts are out there and suddenly we have anxiety because now we're creating this imbalance in our emotional body, right? It's all tied to what we are doing, how we are co-creating in our reality. My favorite thing is when somebody is in the middle of a struggle and I tell them that they haven't let go of whatever it is. And they're like, no, I've done that. I've let it go. And I will say, no, you haven't. It's still in your field. I read the frequency and it's in your field and I can feel it. I can sense it. I can see it in your field. It's still in your field. So you think you've let it go, but on an emotional level, you haven't let it go. On an emotional level, you're still carrying it. You're still holding it with fear. Fear is the biggest challenge, right? So when we have a DNA upgrade present in our body through these massive influxes of light, the best thing that we could do is let go of the fear, right? Everybody says to me, Maria, how do you do this all the time? How do you maintain, because you don't really seem to have any problems? Well, I did. And going back to 2013, when I really started activating all of my DNA upgrades and all of that sort of stuff, there were times where I was very incapacitated. I was very physically challenged. As a matter of fact, in October of 2015, because I still wasn't paying attention, I was going out when I should have been home in bed because my body was depleted, my light body was depleted, but I was out there, I was going, running around, trying to have a good time, and I wasn't listening to my body. My body was like, that's it. You're going to go to bed and you're going to stay there. And that's exactly what happened. The first week of October 2015, I was flat out on my back. I was on my back in bed, couldn't get up. I thought I was dying for 3 months. Finally, January 1st, 2016, I woke up that morning and I was like, okay, I'm committing myself to my work full on, like no half-assing it anymore, because it doesn't work. I can't do it. I have to be full on in. I have to let go of fear. I have to be fierce in my pursuit of my own ascension process. And that's what I chose to do. And I let go of fear and I don't fear anything anymore. So I don't really have a challenging time navigating my reality or the experience that my body's having with these DNA upgrades. Now, that's not to say that I have not had incidents where I've had a higher self come through. And of course, in the integration of that higher self, it's, an embodiment process. That is a big undertaking for our body. And so for that, I was in bed 4 days. And then before that, I was in bed probably a day or two. It wasn't as big of a challenge. But so we do have those moments, right? But I would say 99.9% of my time, I'm not in any kind of pain and suffering. I don't have any challenges, because when I am perceiving that there is an upgrade happening to my body, I get happy, I get joyful, I start dancing, I start thanking my body, singing its praises, speaking to my higher selves, to my oversoul, monad, to my future selves, to source consciousness, to every aspect of me. And I start, really rejoicing that some kind of an upgrade is happening again. And I don't focus on the negativity of it. And I would never, ever call it a symptom of ascension. Because if you could look at it now, after I've just explained all of this, you could see, I don't know who created that terminology, ascension symptoms, but it's like a conundrum, right? It doesn't work, because you hear you're having ascension, which is a highly enlightened state of being. And then you have symptoms, which is literally third dimensional paradigm association with medical community, right? And so it just doesn't make sense. So if you are using the terminology Ascension Symptoms, I'd like to encourage you to shift that to DNA upgrades or Ascension upgrades, anything like that, because that's essentially what's happening, right? The crystalline light frequencies that are amplified on the earth and in the solar system and now in our body are coming to life. And what's happening is because this frequency is so high, it's like a pot of boiling water. So when the water starts to raise in temperature from the heat on the stove, the molecules start to bounce back and forth. And that synergistic happening creates bubbling. And then the water gets super hot and it bubbles, right? The same thing's happening in our body. As these light frequencies are coming into our body, these light frequencies are like pinging off of each other, right? Like just like that boiling water. And these molecules are pinging back and forth and being agitated. So when during gamma, where you're going to feel totally like, oh my God, what's going on? And I can't sleep. And I feel like I could do 50,000 things. And yet I can't do anything because I feel so disorganized and disoriented. Yeah, you feel that way because you're not used to your multidimensional self being activated, right? You have a thought in your head, you want to do 50,000 things, and then you don't know where to start first. And then you look at everything you want to do and you're so confused and it gets overwhelming. But in that moment, if you could just bring yourself back to center again and come back in, closing your eyes, come into your heart center and just come back into your center and just say, oh my goodness, I'm in my multidimensional state right now. I'm in one of my highest states of being. How amazing. Let me just sit with this experience and have this experience. And I know even if it's at 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't love it either, but yet I am so happy to have it because I know that's where we're headed. And there will be a point in time where that will be it. We will be in that state of operation and we will be in our multidimensional self. And then we will be interdimensional. And when we're interdimensional, we can actually put ourselves into other dimensional states of being. See, multidimensional states of being, right now, I will tell you that I get messages from people at least once a day, telling me that I've been in their dreams, in their meditations, in visions that they've had, teaching them, assisting them, supporting them, walking with them, talking with them, whatever it is. I get that all the time. Why is that? Because my multidimensional aspects have activated and I don't restrict them. I don't restrict them. I'm not using anything to numb the pain, right? Because we have to experience that. And the pain is really a reflection of the resistance we hold toward what we're experiencing. Hey, I don't like this. Something is happening with my body. I don't like it. Yet I feel like I don't have control over it. And it makes me angry. That anger is fear, right? That fear creates resistance. And then most of the time we want to know, well, I need to know exactly what this is. Why is this happening to me? What is taking place? Why am I feeling this? I need to know. I need to understand this. That all equals more resistance. Do you see the cycle, right? And guess what dimensional state of being all of that is tied to? The one that we don't want to stay in because it is deconstructing right in front of our eyes. That's tied to third dimension. So when you find yourself challenged here, right, feeling the resistance of it all, I want to encourage you to take a breath, step back, close your eyes, go into your heart. I can't say it enough times. It is the most helpful thing you'll ever do for yourself. Trust me, I know. I'm a byproduct of my work. So it's very, very important for us to see what we are creating in each moment because we are the creator of our reality. That's it, plain and simple. And every time we don't like what's showing up, we're in resistance, which means that we're only going to get more of what we don't want, because isn't that law of attraction? law of attraction says, wherever your focus is, wherever your attention is, wherever your attention is, you're going to get more of that, because like attracts like. And so if that's what you want more of, stay in resistance. If that's what you want more of, stay in fear. If you want more pain, tune into the pain, complain about it, be angry about it. Now, I recognize that it is a challenge to overcome these upgrades that we're having. But I'm going to tell you that if you start implementing these tools and you start really paying attention to when you are in the lower realms with your thoughts, with your words, with your actions, with your fear, and you start shifting that, miracles happen. I promise you. I wouldn't be in business this long. I wouldn't be self-employed this long. I wouldn't be successful as I am if this was not the work and it didn't work. If it didn't work, I wouldn't be here talking to you about it. So please, if you let go of one thing today, please think about letting go of the word symptoms and swap it out for upgrades, DNA upgrades, ascension upgrades. I promise you, it will start you on a path to releasing the distortion and discomfort that you're holding in your field. And that's all the pain is. The pain is all of the emotional, mental blocks that you have held, that we have held our entire lifetime in our body, in our electromagnetic field, that now wants to be released during this very, very important time. That's all it is. It's all of the blocks that are being held on to. We don't need them anymore. Let them go. The past is the past. It has no room here. Our job right now is to stay present. Be present. It's the only thing you need to do. There is nothing else to do. Just be present so that you can see what you are creating with your thoughts, your words, and your actions. That's it. It's so simple. Okay. So I'm going to leave this here. I really hope you'll consider, no, I'm going to change that. I have faith, right? Faith is a higher vibrational word than hope. I'm not going to hope it. I'm going to have faith. I'm going to hold faith in the highest state, in the highest timeline, creating the opportunity for you to shift all that you are experiencing. If you are experiencing any kind of pain, shift. I have faith that you are going to shift your words to a higher vibrational state using DNA upgrades or ascension upgrades as opposed to ascension symptoms. I have faith that you are going to do that. So if you have found this helpful, please share with others, because if we could help one other person each, oh my goodness, we would really get this ball rolling and shift so much on this earth, right? Because none of us want this to linger any more than it has to. We want to all move on and shift on. And believe me, a lot of this is affected by the collective experience. So, you know, all for one and one for all. We're a team. We're all a team, right? Which is why I'm on here doing these free videos. I'm not charging for them. I'm not putting them on Patreon. Yes, I have an Ascension community that is a membership community, but that's where people come in and they do their work. People that are very serious about wanting a new experience in their life, right? But I still am on here as often as I can, whether I'm here on YouTube, on Instagram, the TV there, or on my blog, writing my blog posts, offering you whatever I can to help you shift in the best way possible. All right. So please help somebody else and share the information. It's very, very important that we get this information out there so that people can start having a better experience, because today was the day to do this video. I've encountered this conversation, I don't know, 50, 60 times today. And it's very, very important that we that we have an awareness of what we're speaking, thinking, and how we're acting and what we're creating in our reality. It's very, very important, super, super important. So I will hold faith that this resonates with you. If you resonate with this, please think about giving me a thumbs up, because it bumps me up and makes my channel recognized via YouTube, so I get put out there a little bit more. Also, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing, clicking the bell notification. This way you'll be notified of any new content coming out. And I think that's it, you guys. So hopefully you'll use some of these techniques. And if you do, please leave me a comment. Let me know how it worked for you. I know that it will. And I wish you a wonderful, whatever it is that you're doing. Know that I love you so, so very much. Sending you oodles and oodles of light and love and so much goodness. And I have a wonderful, wonderful, whatever you're doing. Love you. Bye.